Well, it sounds like my kid decided to fall backwards. He's trying to figure out that little dynamic of propping himself up on things. And then if he kind of loses balance and falls backwards, it's a little bit of a thing.
It's a little problematic.
A little problematic for the guy. So, he's bawling his eyes out right now. Poor dude. He'll survive. Tony, if you can hear Tony in the background, he'll be fine. Don't worry.
I do hear him.
Yeah, he's upset right now.
Yeah, he sounds like he's a little perturbed.
I mean, he's gonna be a fucking middle linebacker, so he needs to toughen up a little bit. You know, he's got his shit together. Oh. Jerry, we had a wild divisional round that we should probably talk about a little bit before we get into the picks, because
a little bit.
You really didn't think that we were going to be here, my friend. Honestly. Feel free to tell me if you thought you were, because I'll call you a fucking liar.
Oh, man.
Like, baby in the AFC, but like, what? This is horrible. This is so bad. Oh, dude. So, I'm bringing a little bit of strength to the party today.
Strength, huh?
I'm bringing Bookers.
Yes, that does qualify in the strength category.
124.4.
Yeah.
So, because of that guy, my bourbon's going to go up like 25%. So,
yeah,
well, I'm not a fan. I mean, not saying I was before, but not a fan. That's whack.
He's probably going to tell you to thank him later.
Oh, God. What an asshole. Anyway. It took a while. I looked at my shelf for a long time, and it was kind of like, what do I want to have as longevity? Because, I'll have a couple of friends that'll come up and bring me some fun, but God damn it, Jerry. God damn it. Welcome to another episode of the Fucked Up Fantasy Football Podcast. I can't believe the fucking Commanders and the fucking Eagles are playing in the NFC Championship game, Jerry. I want to hear one person claim that they called that, just so I can also call them a liar. Like, who said that the Washington Commanders were going to be on Championship Sunday? Who?
Commanders fans, they're the only ones.
Ooh. I don't even think Commanders fans thought that.
No, that's the only group of people that you immediately have to think of, because they're, you have those delusional types that have faith in their team no matter what, and they're on a magic little carpet ride right now, so let them have it.
I mean, I guess so. I'll let them have it a little bit.
Otherwise, any person who watches any games and has just a slight bit of knowledge about this game would not have picked the Commanders to win.
Unbelievable. Unfucking believable. Saturday was stunning, and I mean, honestly, Sunday was stunning as well. Both night games definitely lived up to some expectations. I mean, all games were actually pretty close, which is nice, because generally there's always a crazy ass blowout. I guess maybe you could qualify the Commanders beating the Lions by 14 as a blowout, but it just seemed like way closer at times. I think it kind of got a little bit away at the end of them, but we're here, Jerry. It's I definitely did not think. Again, this has been a little bit wild, and that is shown through our picks, by the way. Yeah, we did not do well. I got nothing.
Yeah, it was bad.
That was really bad.
It was bad.
Even Miss Molly, even went only 500, which is pretty only 500.
Only 500.
Only. I pulled a donut 0, 3, and 1. And Jerry 1, 2, and 1. And Brooke pulling a 1 and 3. I looked it up last year, Jerry. I looked it up. At the end of the season last year, after the Super Bowl, you were 49, 41, and 1 last year. So you're 12 behind.
Yeah, well, it's impossible.
We did bet on more games. We did bet on more games last year. That's also the thing. Just saying.
Wow.
Brooke is also a little bit behind. She was 54 and 40 last year. This year, 41 and 55. Sorry, Brooke. I was on fire last year. I was 61 and 40 and 1. And Miss Molly was 56 and 38. You'll be happy to know that Miss Molly already has 61 wins. 61 and 35 after going 2 and 2. I'm hanging out at 48 and 47 and 1. So it was interesting. We did have a push last year. I didn't remember that, but yeah, there you go.
No one ever remembers a tie.
I generally do. It doesn't really happen too often. And we've been getting a lot more whole number spreads this year, it feels like, though. I felt like we had way more hooks last year than this year. Could be wrong. Don't know. Sometimes it's a little bit of a blur in these episodes, but, you know, it is what it is. Jerry, are you ready?
I am. Let's roll.
Raw fire burning. It's really interesting how these flavors change as they sit for a bit. That's for sure. It's really interesting. That Booker's got some leg to it. Washington.
It hits you in the math.
Love that shit. Washington Commanders are at the Lincoln Financial Field facing the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles are -6-point favorites. We have a 47.5 over-under if you're into that type of thing. Jerry. The Philadelphia Eagles went through a little bit of trouble also getting here. I think they're actually pretty fucking lucky, if I'm being absolutely honest. Kyron Williams fumbled the ball twice. The Rams definitely had an opportunity here to put this one away and win the game a couple of occasions here. So the spread is a pretty interesting spread for a game where I think the Philadelphia Eagles kind of squeaked on through. I think it's honestly a disrespectful, especially since the Washington Commanders thoroughly beat down the Detroit, like thoroughly inside and out on the run game, in the pass game, on defense. Jerry, they showed up, dude. Like that was a fucking clinic. So
they beat him in all three phases.
Man, like they outworked him. I'm incredibly stunned at a -6 point spread here. What are your just thoughts, like in general, about the spread number before I let you loose here? What I thought it was a surprising number, especially for a divisional game where they're playing again. Really? 6? I don't know, man.
I think part of it is the whole, like, Jaden Daniels is a rookie. Can he do it again? The uncertainty. Eagles have a good defense. I mean, I think it was this morning I heard it on TV. I believe Dan Orlovsky made a point. He was like, there's no reason why the Eagles shouldn't win this game because they're better than the Commanders at every single position, with the most questionable one being quarterback right now. Like, body of work, Jalen Hurts is a better quarterback because he's been in the league longer. But if you just go on, what's been happening recently, you can make an argument that Jaden Daniels is playing better than Hurts is. I mean, statistically, he definitely is. But the result is the same on both sides, where both teams are winning. So I think that's what goes into this number being what it is. When I first saw it, I was like, yeah. And then, as the week goes on and you see stuff and you start looking at injuries and this, that, and the other and whatever, I mean, who on that team is going to stop Saquon? Because they clearly couldn't do it the first two games. The man is averaging almost 140 yards from scrimmage in 2 games against them this year. His prop, I believe his rushing prop's 130.5. It's insane. So, I mean, I can understand where all that's coming from, but I mean, it is a divisional game. It's the 3rd time they're playing each other. Like, any fucking thing can happen. And he said that too. He's like, yeah, but anything can happen. It's a win or go home scenario, and injury could happen. Fumble, turnover, whatever. Like, there's so many factors that could happen. I mean, what if Jaden Daniels has the worst game of his rookie campaign, and unfortunately saves it for this game? So who knows, man? There's a lot that goes into these numbers, and they always seem to get it right. That's the scary part.
Jahmyr Gibbs, 14 carries for 105 yards and 2 touchdowns. Jameson Williams, 1 carry for 61 yards and 1 touchdown. I mean, Detroit did a pretty good job running the ball as well. 166 yards between 15 carries and 3 touchdowns. That's a lot of volume there, and a good touchdown ratio. Once every 5 carries. But the Washington Commanders still won, Jerry. Mm-hmm. The Washington Commanders still won. And it wasn't even that impressive either, my friend. 15 carries for 77 yards and 2 touchdowns for Brian Robinson Jr., 16 for 51 from Jaden Daniels, and 6 for 47 from Austin Eckler. About 20-yard difference. I mean, I think that even if they do kind of drop, 166 yards and a couple of touchdowns, and they're still winning the game, that's pretty interesting. That's pretty interesting.
Well, it's really hard to win a game when your quarterback turns the ball over 4 times.
Of course. Yeah, of course.
Jared Goff threw 3 picks and fumbled once. So,
yeah.
If you cut that in half, maybe they're in it to win it. But 4 turnovers, that's really hard to overcome. It's a death sentence.
Of course.
Yeah. I mean, how many times did they sack him? Only twice.
Only twice.
So it's not like they got a lot of pressure on him. So, yeah, man, it just shit like that happens. And I do believe 1 or 2 of those turnovers were like, one of them was actually no, they turned it over more than that. They turned it over 5 times because Jameson Williams threw an interception too.
Yeah, he definitely threw an interception.
There were 4 picks.
Yeah, correct.
I do remember that.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, 3 from Goff and 1 from Williams. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, that one was a bad pass, and then one of the I do remember clearly, Goff passes was in the end zone, and I believe he was targeting Jameson Williams, and the ball was just underthrown. The safety just undercut it and grabbed that shit and see ya. And I think there was a pick 6 too.
Yeah, there was for sure.
So
40-yard pick 6. So
yeah, so I mean, there's your difference in the game, because it wasn't like Washington was lights out on offense. They were good, but it wasn't like a dominating, display. Detroit made too many mistakes, man. They made too many mistakes, and they paid for it in the end. And Motor City Dan, man, that's what happens.
Crying shame. Crying shame. Jerry, go ahead, man. Who are you gonna take in this game?
So, my heart wants Washington to win this so bad, so bad. My heart even wants me to think that they can hang around and cover, but I don't know, man. I feel like Philly goes up by a touchdown ish, 6 points, whatever it may be, even 4 points, and holds on to the ball late. Plays keep away. They're getting first downs. Washington never gets the ball back with an opportunity to go ahead or tie or anything, and they end up, kicking a field goal or something like that that's going to get them over that 6 number. I'm taking Philly reluctantly. I don't want them to win, but I have a bad feeling they're going to. That defense is really, really good. Secondary's nice. Jalen Carter in the middle is an absolute menace. Washington is not going to be able to run the ball down the middle. They're going to have to bounce that shit outside. And you got to believe that Fangio is going to have some sort of a plan to spy Daniels, to contain him. He's not gonna try to stop him altogether, but he's certainly going to try and keep him from running, because that's an element that's troublesome. And to be ready for these slick Kingsbury plays, some of these RPOs that he's got going on and things like that. I think they're going to be up for it. It should be a great game, though. It absolutely should be an amazing game. I hope I'm wrong. I really do, but I just feel like that it's kind of too good to be true, and that the clock is going to strike 12, and Washington's going to turn into a bunch of fucking pumpkins, and the Cinderella story is going to be over. My lovely wife, on the other hand, she's going to Washington. She's like, it and the beat goes on. Like, they're gonna win, and I like it, but I'm not gonna tail it.
Over under?
Barely over. It's gonna be a sweat.
During the last game, the Washington Commanders were probable to win for about 80 to 85% of that game. It was a very close game. Washington had the lead for the majority of it until the fourth quarter. Fourth quarter went a little wonky business. And everyone's going to beef about, oh, well, Kenny Pickett played for us in this thing. Gentlemen, ladies, look. You realize you've been playing a backup quarterback in Washington for the last 20 years. There hasn't been a single fucking quarterback in Washington with a jersey nameplate that you would ever wear out in public and be proud to be wearing that jersey. So get off your fucking horse about how you had fucking Kenny Pickett playing in there, because no one gives a shit, you sad sack of a fan base. You're a bunch of fucking clowns. And I'm excited to watch the Washington Commanders rub it in your fucking faces on Sunday night. I'm going with the Washington Commanders plus 6 points. I'm taking the under, because it was an under game last time. They were all the way up until the fourth quarter. It was 10-6. We had 28 points scored in the fourth quarter. So I think this is going to be a sweaty game. It's going to be a close one. And we're definitely looking at the under. Jaden Daniels is going to do his thing. Saquon's still going to have a great game. He's going to run and just show why he probably should be the MVP of the National Football League this year, now that Lamar Jackson is out of the race. I think the Washington Commanders will win this game. I don't understand how they cannot, and I love the money line play for them. We're a Washington Commanders household. Molly is also taking the Washington Commanders on the money line because she likes money. And she's never, I don't know. I think there's only once she's picked the Eagles, maybe twice, because it made sense. But I think she's pretty stout on the fact that if it's ever the option to pick Philadelphia, it's definitely just not the option to pick Philadelphia. Jerry, the AFC was also a slight bit of a cluster fuckaroo. The Houston Texans just, what is the deal with them? Do they need to mature a little bit? Do they need to like pick up a couple of players? Like, what does the CJ Stroud just have a bad year and we just kind of like shrug it off and wait for the same unit to kind of rock and roll next year? What say you about the Houston Texans? 10-7 Houston Texans this year.
Well, you had some negative regression from CJ Stroud. You had a very, very bad offensive line. And you had the entire wide receiver core go down at some point. They were not playing together for many games. I want to say the first month maybe? Week 5, 6, maybe they got that far. But it happens, man. You know, it's really hard for them to duplicate what they did last season. Really hard. I mean, especially a team that young. Everybody's brand new on it. They're all learning each other. They're all learning, how to play. And the NFL adjusts pretty damn quick. They don't waste a lot of time. You have film on somebody, these coaches are ready for you. They're gonna put in, the better coaches, I should say, because not every coach is created equal, as we've seen. They were fortunate to make it, and also very fortunate that they're in a really bad division, a division where the other 3 teams, one of them is the number 1 overall pick. The Jags are a top 10. I think they're like 5 or 6 or something. I don't know. And then Indy's going to be like just inside lottery area because they barely missed the playoffs. So, that helps too. But they just had a lot of obstacles and they did not overcome them with ease like they did last year. Last year, whenever they had a problem, they seemed to just blow right through it, and it wasn't that big of an issue. It was a real big issue. I mean, there's a question mark as to whether or not Tank Dell could ever play football again. I think he will, but he's definitely out next year. Stephon Diggs is a free agent. Is he going to come back? He restructured his contract to 1 year so he could be a free agent, so he could be playing on what he thought was going to be like a prove-it year. He's probably not going to command as much money. Nico Collins been in and out, hurt. He'll get some rest. Hopefully be much better. He proved that he's a dominant wide receiver 1. He led the league in yardage for a while until the hamstring issue. So, I mean, it's not like the pieces aren't there. That defense is nasty. But, after a while, the injuries, all that stuff. I mean, the same thing happened to Detroit. They couldn't keep rolling like that all season. Absolutely could not. There were too many guys hurt, just too many unknowns instead of your sure shot first guys and stuff like that, first string guys. And then they played a shitty game and they lost. So now, to address the elephant in the room, there was a little help from the Zebras, as they tend to do with the Chiefs and the fighting Swifties. So that's that sucks too. But you don't want to blame it on that, because the score, it's not like it was super close, but it could have been closer if some of those calls, didn't happen. But that, I don't know, that's my take on him.
That roughing the passer was fucking ridiculous.
That was awful.
Like, yeah. Man.
Just make the right call. Even if you got to do replay, whatever, just make the right call. That's it. Just make the right call.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I was very frustrated by that. I couldn't honestly fucking believe that was the call. But I mean, what do I know? I'm only a football enthusiast, right? So
that's it.
Unbelievable. The Buffalo game actually made me sad on the insides. That Watching Mark Andrews drop that ball was just heartbreaking. That dude has had one of the roughest comeback seasons I've seen in some time. And that would have been like a huge catch to just kind of like shut everybody up. And maybe some of us folks that had him in fantasy football, you know, maybe we would finally shut the fuck up. But God damn it, Jerry. That was really, really fucking frustrating, dude. Really fucking frustrating. So yeah, I'm a little annoyed that game went down, because now we have to see the same fucking game that we've seen over and 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 over again. And we get to do it again, Jerry. Over and over and over again.
It's always so good, though.
Oh, I'm kind of...
The ending may not be, but it's always a good game.
Kind of over it. I'm tired. I'm kind of over it, dude. I'm just saying. I'm kind of over it.
It would have been such a bad game if it was the Texans.
I mean...
They would have gotten blown out in Buffalo. They would have gotten blown the fuck out in Buffalo.
Sure. I'll take that. I'm just saying, fucking annoying. Super annoying. Really annoying. With that, the Kansas City Chiefs are at home in Arrowhead. The vaunted Arrowhead, -1.5 point favorites at home. The Buffalo Bills on the road, 47.5 over under. So it was really funny. I asked my wife, I said, send me your picks. And she said, what do you think my picks are? And I said, Washington and Buffalo. And she was like, yep. And I said, why are you all of a sudden hating on the Chiefs? And she screamed at me, Fumble Rooski. And so that's her answer. Yeah.
God.
Yeah. So I'm not sure.
Fumble Rooski, dude.
Yeah. Fumble Rooski. And I said, are you sure? And her direct response was, fuck 'em. So my wife has taken the Buffalo Bills on the money line. And we actually have a unanimous household this weekend. I'm also taking the Buffalo Bills +1.5 on the road in the vaunted Arrowhead. And I'm taking the over, because I think the only way that the Buffalo Bills win this game is in sweeping fashion. Or just like scoring a lot of points. I shouldn't say sweeping fashion. I think it's finally time that the Buffalo Bills break this issue that they have beating the Kansas City Chiefs. Josh Allen is just playing like out of his fucking mind right now. There's no two ways about it. Like, he's out of his mind. So every time I shit talk James Cook, he like comes out and he has a decent game. It's pretty consistent, unfortunately. So I have to stop ignoring the obvious here, and I think it's just Buffalo's year finally. I think finally the tables in Buffalo can get broken during Super Bowl weekend for the first time in, fuck me, Jerry.
35 years?
Yeah, 30, 35? Yeah, fuck, I guess. No, about 30, yeah, 31, 32. Because like the early 90s.
No, I was referring to the first one. The first Super Bowl they attended was 91.
Yeah. That's, yeah, Christ. 20 fucking 5 years. Yeah, 25. Yep. Or 35.
34.
Yeah, 34, 35.
It's 34.
I was doing it because I was like 4 or 5 years old when they went to their first one. So anyway, who does math nowadays, right, kids? I just DeMar Hamlin actually looks like pretty good. I'll be honest with you. Like, before, I was really like, I just kind of really didn't give a shit about the whole thing after a little while, because it was just such a drain. Like, everyone was just like, oh man, this guy almost, okay, like, I get it. I fucking get it. But he's really not that good. He was a fucking like third string safety, second string safety, defensive back at the time, and like really wasn't seeing too much playing time. And so it was just like, I just wanted to focus a little bit more on the actual team because they were pretty, narrow at their defensive back position. Well, he's developed into quite the player. He has been reading schemes. He's been doing very well in his coverages. They're even sending him on some blitz packages. They got him all over the place. So I'll give props to that defensive backs over there in Buffalo because they've had some pretty tough years, especially against the Kansas City Chiefs. And I think they're better equipped to take on the Kansas City Chiefs this year, especially with their lack of wide receivers there. As long as they can keep Travis Kelce in check, the Buffalo Bills are cooking with gasoline. Josh Allen scores 2 with his legs. I'm definitely all about that. Give me that plus 1.5 prop. That would be just money sandwiches for sure. Go Buffalo Bills, Jerry. Go Buffalo Bills.
Well, that puts us at a team ride, sir, because we're on the Buffalo Bills as well. Woo! I'm on the Buffalo Bills because I too think it's time. And this fucking little run that KC's on, it's got to end at some point.
It's got to end.
I think they would have been better suited had they lost late in the season with everybody in, not that week 18 game, because clearly it didn't matter. Everything was already set in stone. Seating was already established. They sat everybody. So when you win this much, it really, like, you have to continue playing perfect almost, because you make one big mistake, especially against a team like Buffalo, that shit could cost you your damn season and it's over. I went against them last week because I really thought the Ravens were going to win, but I was convinced no matter what that the winner of that game, KC and Buffalo, or Baltimore and Buffalo, the winner of that game is going to go to the Super Bowl. So I'm just going to stick to that. Buffalo 1.5 plus 1.5. It's going to be another close one, super close one. Under. I think this is going to be. I think points might come at a premium, even though they haven't in the past with these guys. They've put up points on each other, and they'll do it in spurts. But I don't know. I'm trying to keep my application open to join Bills Mafia as well. So that's the other reason. I want them to win. This one's a heart bet. It's all heart. It's all heart. Like where the first one I was using my head, I'm going all heart with this one. I can feel it in my gut, and I feel good about them winning. Now, I don't know if I've said that at all this season. If I have, I've probably been wrong. So here we go again. The one thing I am afraid of is that since it is a 1.5 number, it's a perfect number for KC to go ahead and win and cover, because these are the types of games that they win and cover. They could go on and win this fucking game by 2 points exactly. Like, it'll be ridiculous. But it's going to be one hell of a game. And, I mean, it's bittersweet because as good of a game as it's going to be, it's the next to last game of the season. We've only got 3 left. So, coming down to the wire, coming down to the end. I'm going to be heading on down to New Orleans, a snowy New Orleans.
Unbelievable.
For the Super Bowl in 2.5 weeks, which should be pretty exciting. Yeah, that snow has been insane. I mean, when I sent you those videos of my parents in the panhandle of Florida with 3 inches of snow outside their house, and then later I saw a video of Destin, which is a beach town just south of where they live, about 20 minutes south, and the snow is up to the water. It's fucking crazy, man. I've lived in Florida 30 plus years, and I've only heard about, oh yeah, last time it snowed, it was like 1922, or it was like 1908, or some shit like that. No, motherfuckers, it's 2025 and it snowed in Florida. It even snowed a little bit up in the Jacksonville area where Brooke's from. Her family sent me a video and of a drone left flying over the neighborhood, and it's just snow everywhere. It wasn't as thick, but and there was some today when I went to take the trash out here because we've been in the 40s. There was it. So when I opened the door to go to throw it out, I look, and it was the rain. It wasn't sleet. It was a little softer. It was kind of slushy rain, but it was flying around like it was snow. It was kind of weird. I mean, it wasn't sticking. It wasn't anything like that. But I'm like, holy shit! What the hell am I looking at right now? It was nuts. It was nuts. It's this world is it's going nuts, man. I don't know. It's fucking cold in Florida. What the hell's up with that?
We have absolutely zero snow up here in the Vancouver Island of British Columbia, Canada, Jerry. Zero.
That proves my point 100%. It's snowing in fucking Florida, and there's no snow in the Great Northwest.
Like, actually zero. Like, it hasn't even come close. And it's not a good thing, by the way, because, like, we need our water in the summertime because it gets pretty fucking hot up here these days. And, yeah, we don't get the snow on the glaciers, and then it doesn't run down, and the water doesn't go into the fucking reservoir, and then, you know, we kind of turn into South Africa and don't have a lot of water, so it, yeah, it's a thing. A little bit different, but, you know, we dealing. I just think it's fucking hilarious that that area is getting snow and we're not. Kind of funny.
Yeah.
Just saying. Anyway. Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Fucked Up Fantasy Football Podcast. Co-host Corey Roussel, Jerry Rodriguez. Jerry. Championship weekend means that there's only 1 week of football left after this. We have 2 weeks left, Jerry.
Yep. It's over.
I'm sad. I think I'm even more sad we didn't really talk about it, but what are the chances, just hear me out on this, what are the chances that Jerry actually thinks that Brian is Marty?
Wow. I was like, what? What did you? And then it all came together. Sorry, my brain's working a little slow. Oh boy.
You know, though? You know? What if? My team is a fucking joke.
Join the club, sir.
Oh, man. The NFC East is rough. Like, I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna... I'm confused. I just really gotta have a long conversation with my child when he's ready. And we gotta pick the right team for that kid. Because he is by no means gonna be forced to be on this goddamn franchise. Like, yeah. Unless there's some
maybe by the time he's old enough, Jerry's gone.
It's just a whole organizational thing. I think his kid, Steven Jones, is gonna be a fucking see you next Tuesday as well.
You know, he probably is, but
yeah,
he may have enough smarts to be like, I'm not going to be a fucking general manager too. I'm going to go hire somebody.
God. We can only hope, Jerry. Fuck me.
Yeah, well, that's all you can do.
All right.
I've lost all hope.
Goodbye, Jerry.
Bye.